what actually got you into metal music for the first time? Do you recall when you heard metal music?
Yeah, we raised on countryside, so just a few people listen to metal and especially to extreme metal. First contact was when I was a child, and some older guys had already some Cannibal Corpse stuff and this very brutal stuff. So that was not my cup of tea, I have to say. At the beginning, I was only 12 years old or something. Everything started with a friend. He had listened to Iron Maiden, Metallica, and Manowar and this stuff. Yes, I enjoyed Iron Maiden and Metallica, and we went to a concert in Stuttgart. This was 1996. I was completely blown away and really getting interested in all of this. I loved the cover artwork of the albums, and yeah, it started with more Iced Earth, Blind Guardian, and this stuff. But one day I discovered black metal, and it was in a club, and they played the song Quintessence from Dark Throne.
Okay.
And that completely blew me away, and yeah, everything started here. I loved their old stuff, Transylvanian Hunger, Blazing on Northern Sky, and yeah, so everything started. Burzum, Satyricon, yeah, these are the bands.
So Norwegian scene sort of open for you.
Yes. You know, the countryside where I'm coming from is very wooden, a lot of mountains. It's a bit similar to Norwegian or Swedish countrysides. I love forest. I spent my whole childhood in the forest. So this was kind of that black metal listened like being in the dark, bewitched wood or something like that. So I completely loved that. Yeah.
So also very Finnish landscape.
Yeah.
Dark, at least on the winter time.
It's because of the altitude. It's cold in the winter and a lot of snow.
Yeah.
Not that much lakes like you have it, but it's a bit like Scandinavia. Yeah.
So was it like Dark Throne that was sort of like the first spark for you to form your own band, or how did that happen for you?
Yeah, there were some bands, as I said. I really loved the Scandinavian stuff, and there was a guy. He wanted to start a black metal project, but he had no drums. You know, we were young, we were still in school, and he asked me if I have the money to buy a cheap drum set.
Okay.
And I said yes. Okay. I was drunk, and he was drunk, and so a day or two later, I bought a cheap drum set, and I started with drumming in that band. It was a 2-man project called Kälte. It was totally raw, completely underground, bad songwriting. Everything was bad. Some people loved it because it was so bad, very raw. Then it was finished. He wanted to continue as a solo project, and I did my solo project. And I bought a guitar, and I never loved to play drums, to be honest. I like to play something that can make melodies. So it's just a taste. Yeah. So I started my solo project, and I learned something about home recording and doing all this stuff, playing guitars, arrange the instruments and stuff. So that was the next step. And the other guy, Vespasian, he had also his solo project. And maybe this is another story you want to ask, how that was happening.
So how did you end up like becoming a singer? Was it that when you were doing the solo stuff that you were basically the only one who were there to do the vocals, or how did you started doing singing at first place?
Yeah. So as I said, I had my solo project. So I used to be a singer. And yeah, when I come together with Vespasian, he was not really interested to make the vocals, and he mentioned my vocals are brilliant, so he loved what I do. So I said, yeah, let's do it. And I took over the vocal parts. He's doing the drums, and everything else is mixed, I would say. I do also the guitar stuff. He does guitar stuff, playing bass, synthesizers. Yeah, as I said, we do our home recording, each for on their side or on his side, on my side, and we send the song ideas to the other one. So this is how we produce songs. And live, I'm doing only vocals. That's because we learned another band called Swagsheim, and yeah, they brought 2 guitarists and a bass player, so it was clear another guitarist wouldn't be necessary. So I do only the vocals, and they play guitars and bass.
So when you started doing the vocals, were you like covering some songs, or
No.
how did you get like involved with the singing, or were you like immediately doing your own music when you started doing the vocals as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I hate covering songs or playing songs that already exist. So to be honest, it would be hard for me to play the easiest child song because I never played it. So I just play my own stuff, and I love to create art or music, and yeah, that's what I love. And it's also the same for vocals. Here we are again at Dark Throne, so I think probably Nocturno Culto is the voice I love most at the beginning, or this very raw, dark, brutal voice, I would say. So from the beginning, this was my orientation, so everything went into the direction of Nocturno Culto, I would say.
So when you started singing, were you sort of like trying to mimic him first before you were sort of able to develop your own voice and your own vocal style as well?
No. I think not. No. You know, Dark Throne was very important, and he was very important, but I also loved other stuff. And yeah, somehow, you know, there's a German band called Eisregen. This was a band I loved very too. And yeah, when I did especially German lyrics, it was more like Eisregen, you know, the pronunciation of the words. I loved that. I don't know. I think I developed very fast my own style, and yes, as I said, I love to do my own stuff, and yeah, I'm not that person who loves to copy or something, or yeah.
So did it take a long time to get the stamina for the singing? What kind of memories do you have from the early days? Were you like losing your voice every time you were like growling and screaming, or how was it for you? What kind of memories do you have?
No. To be honest, I don't practice my voice. When I'm on tour, I have to be aware that, you know, after 3 or 4 shows, you really realize that there's some problems coming up, or most of the tours are in winter, autumn, or spring. So it's also a bit dangerous, I would say, being outside on the cold with wet clothes or something. So this is very dangerous, and you have to learn how to handle this problem. Yeah? When everybody is picking up their equipment, carrying to the bus or to the transporter, and hey Horaz, come over, you have to help too. Sorry, I'm completely sweat, I'm the singer. If I'm ill tomorrow, everything is fucked up. So these kind of problems. And yeah, I did sports once, so stamina was not that problem. And yeah, I think the biggest problem is to keep calm, you know, especially when I'm on live and getting very emotional over the time. So if people are emotional, I'm getting emotional, and as more emotions that are coming in, the voice gets more and more extreme.
Okay.
And alcohol is, of course, another point. So
do you normally take alcohol before the show, or do you try to avoid like having alcohol before the show?
It depends. Generally, I love drinking before show, but yeah, it's not that good for the voice. If I'm on the tour, I'm a bit more aware to have not too much alcohol before the show, because it's not that good. If I have only 1 or 2 shows at the weekend, that's not a problem. Yeah, I like drinking whiskey coke before the show, and maybe a bottle of wine during the show. If there's not a show at the next day, or is there not several shows the next days, that's not a problem. And I like to have a good level on that, not too much, but having a good level that helps you to perform more emotional. So yeah.
So are there, like, for example, some certain drinks or foods that you wouldn't rather have before the show, that you feel that they affect you somehow?
Yeah, everything that blows up your belly, you know. Not too much green stuff. Pasta is perfect. So in general, if you're a guitarist or drummer, don't eat too much before the show. Look that your belly does not blow up too much. And during the show, don't drink something with gas, you know. Beer is shit on stage, if you ask me, if you're a singer, because you have to, what is the word, the English word? You know, when the air is coming up of your stomach.
Yeah,
The English word.
Is it like burping?
Burping, exactly. Yeah. So if you want to start singing your stuff and the air comes up, so that's shit, and does not help. So something without gas, like wine, water, is perfect, and it's also not good for the voice, you know, the gas.
So do you do anything to warm up before the show, or are you the kind of guy that you go just up on stage and start performing, and then you're sort of like warming up during the show, or how do you normally do those?
It depends. I don't make any screams or something like that, but usually I talk a lot to people, so I'm looking the other concerts of other bands and talking to people while it's loud. So you're already talking loud and you screaming to other people or something, so your voice is not starting from zero, you know. And yeah, if there's a complete different situation, yeah, I would do some screams, for example. So you shouldn't start from zero. So if you haven't talked maybe for 2 or 3 hours because there was nobody to talk, wouldn't be good to scream directly from scratch. So yeah, it's important that your voice had some, yeah, that you have talked to someone louder or for a while, that you have to, that you haven't to start on zero. Yeah.
So does it become easier for you if it's a long tour and you've done, like, for example, 4 shows before? Does it get like easier for you in terms of like warming up, so that your throat is sort of already ready for the shows?
Yes, that's true. If you are aware and get a bit back, not too much power in the first shows, you know, the tour starts and you're full of power and emotions and you want to bring all the power, but that's not a good idea. You have to yeah, keep the energy. So if that works well for the first 3-4 shows, the voice is much better on the 5th, 6th, 7th show. So there's time you need to come into everything, you know, and that is definitely better after 4 or 5 days, if everything works well on the previous shows.
So obviously you've already released quite a lot of albums with Imperium Dekadenz. So are there like some specific album that you could point out where you have made like the most progression as a vocalist?
Yeah, it's definitely the new album, and it's because I completely pre-produced the singing or the voice, which was not the case on the previous albums. I did the pre-production for some songs, and you know, you go into the studio and sometimes you have to start at a song from scratch, or sometimes you have to try out some stuff. But this time I went to the studio and everything was completely clear. So yeah, I saved a lot of time, I saved a lot of energy. So I think you can hear it that the voice is much more on point, and I think it's stronger and there are more ideas, you know. Yeah, I think it's definitely the best.
So obviously, Into Sorrow Evermore was released in the end of January, and as you said, that's the album that you are sort of like, I guess, most proud of also as a vocalist now. So were there like some certain things that you tried out, like new things vocal wise on the album?
Yeah, there are some effects, you know. There are two voices, for example, one spoken voice combined with a whispering voice with a different effect. There are chant parts with a screaming voice in the background, different echo effects on it. So yeah, we combined more different tracks of voice recordings with different effects on it, and you know, different performances, sometimes scream with whispering, chanting with screaming, or something like that. So yeah, definitely.
Is there like some specific track that you are like most proud of when it comes to the vocals? Some like standout track for you?
Yeah, I would say it's Memories a Raging River. I definitely love the emotions in the voice. You know, there is a part where it becomes shortly a bit more quiet and there are no drums. There are some spoken words, then comes the hook line, and after that there is a part where the drums are more rocking stuff. So these kinds of parts are very emotional, and yeah, it completely blows me away today, until today, because yeah, these are the emotions I want to have here on that song, and yeah, it's a very private and personal song for me also, and yeah, that's why this is my favorite.
So how much do you think about the articulation when you are like singing the songs in the studio? Is that important aspect for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You have to try to be dynamic, various. Sometimes it's more important to sound brutal. Sometimes it's more important to sound depressed or melancholic. Sometimes I have this kind of classical bosom, hysteric voice. You know, yeah, I really look on this. I think the voice should really fit perfectly. So sometimes some riffs are more, let's say, classic metal, more this powerful stuff. So lyrics have to be more shorter sentences, you know, less words, not that much words, less words, shorter sentences. So you can have more room to play with the words and to set them on point, you know. So that's quite important. And sometimes I have also German lyrics, and it's much more difficult to use German lyrics on fast songs, you know, because you need more words for the same sentence if you're using German, for example. So, and also the words are longer, there are more phrases. So English is much better for this classical or faster stuff, or if you want to be more brutal, then, or that it rolls more. Yeah, so absolutely, yeah, pronunciation and choosing the language is absolutely important. Yeah.
So do you feel that you have also become like better when it comes to breathing techniques, when you are like, as you said, like having like new ways of singing, like chanting and sort of like combining different screams and such? So do you feel that also the breathing is like becoming better and better for you?
Yes, I don't make any training for that, but you definitely learn with each album how to get better to the point where you want to be. So yeah, I do not train anything, but it's kind of experience, you know.
So you are always like pushing with each album yourself a little bit further as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's not only the voice, it's also in guitar playing, songwriting, everything. Yeah. If you have the feeling that you did a next step, it feels much better, and you're more happy about the result. If you have also the feeling the sound is better, your technique was better, the whole process of recording and production was better. So yes, definitely.
So when you started doing like more extreme type of vocals, what were your parents' reactions towards it? Have they always been like supportive what you've been doing, or?
I did a lot of stuff in my life which my parents hated. Yeah, as I said, I began with playing drums, and my father completely hated it when I played drums. Yeah, it was the same with singing. They completely hated it. They hated metal, especially black metal.
Yeah.
But since they saw that we have some success, what we are doing, and yeah, they started to get more interested in, and someday they came on me and asked me about details and stuff, and I told them something, and they get more and more interested. They don't like it. They wouldn't hear about black metal or metal for themselves at home, but they respect it, and that's today it's okay for them, and absolutely no problem. But once they completely hated it, yeah.
So as a last question, do you have any kind of like advice that you would like to give to a young, for example, black metal vocalist who is just about to start their journey? Do you have any kind of advice for him?
Yeah, I think probably he should not only try to be a singer, because he should have also the knowledge how it is to write riffs or something like that. So to being more in the other instruments and then the whole process, I think that completely helps you to be more dynamic, you're going more into the song, you know. Maybe you have the talent and that works already from scratch for you, but if not, if you are not sure or something, it really helps if you try to understand how everything comes together, you know. And yeah, vocals are, I think, sometimes a bit underrated, especially in metal and black metal. So that's, I have to be honest, I don't like, for example, metalcore, because the voice is mostly not dynamic enough, you know. This is, I think, most of the time always the same note, always just a scream. That's boring, in my opinion. And yeah, try to be various, try to be different, try to make something else, be experimental. It's not that important that you doing the technique. I think that's something that comes with the years and experience. But yeah, try to be yourself and discover what is possible with your voice, what you love most, and yeah, try to understand the whole songwriting process. And yeah, I think that's the best way.
Yeah, I actually liked what you said, because I think with black metal only the sky is sort of limit when it comes to like making different noises and doing, like, you could say that basically everything could be black metal in music. So it's sort of like very diverse genre on its own.
Yeah, absolutely. That's also a point why I love black metal. You know, okay, there are a few people that are a bit narrow-minded, and black metal has to be exactly what has been done in maybe end of the 80s, early 90s. So every song has to sound like that. But yeah, if you look to the today's black metal scene, and if you are a bit open-minded, you can discover so many so many stuff, and there are bands coming from other genres and trying to include black metal moods or something like that. So yeah, there's still movement here in black metal, you know. Still things are happening, new bands coming up, new directions, new emotions. So yeah, it's still interesting to start a new black metal project. Yeah.
Hey, all right. Thank you a lot for the chat, and all the best for the future. Anything you want to say as a closer to all the fans?
Yeah. Thank you very much. You're from Finland. I hope we will play someday in your beautiful country. Would be an honor, and yeah, we would love that to do. Maybe next year, end of the year. Let's see. I don't know how the situation is in Finland. In Germany, it becomes harder and harder to find concerts after the Corona pandemic. A lot of clubs closed down, promoters stopped, and tickets getting more and more expensive, and people are not longer willed to leave their couch. I don't know. Tickets are more expensive, of course. Yeah, if you want to support your bands and your clubs and whatever, don't stop going to concerts. It's most important for the bands, you know. You don't earn that much money from the records you did. It's the concert and selling some merchandise, and of course the emotions, the live feeling, being other people, seeing how they react on your music. So this is something an artist,
you don't
musician
get
needs.
that from couch.
Yeah,
you don't get that from watching a show from couch. You only
absolutely.
you only feel that when you are having band like here.
Switch off TV, switch off your PlayStation, lift your ass, leave the door, take some drinks, and enjoy some live music. Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, thanks a lot for doing this interview with me.
Yeah, thank you very much for your questions and your support, and all the luck with your magazine.
Thank you a lot, and hope to see you in Finland. You should ask like Steelfest if they could book you, because that's like very famous extreme metal festival in Finland.
I know it would be lovely.
But hey, thanks a lot.
Yep, have a good evening.
Yeah, you too. Take care.
All the best to Finland. Bye-bye.
Bye.